अमेरिकी कांग्रेस ने रवां साल मलाला यूसुफजई स्कॉलरशिप एक्ट पास किया है, जिसके तहत पाकिस्तानी खवातीन के लिए स्कॉलरशिप की तादाद में इजाफा हो जाएगा। मलाला यूसुफजई स्कॉलरशिप एक्ट की बदौलत मेरिट की बुनियाद पर आला तालीम के लिए स्कॉलरशिप प्रोग्राम के तहत 50% तालीमी वज़ाइफ पाकिस्तानी खवातीन को दिए जाएंगे। इस बिल में यूएसएड की इंतजामिया को हिदायत की गई है कि वो प्रोग्राम के तहत 50% स्कॉलरशिप पाकिस्तानी खवातीन को देने की हर मुमकिन कोशिश करें। इस बिल में यूएसएड से ये भी कहा गया है कि वो पाकिस्तान में तालीमी प्रोग्रामों को बेहतर बनाने और वसअत देने के लिए अमेरिका में मुकीम पाकिस्तानियों से मशवरा करे और उनकी सरमायाकारी से फायदा उठाए। तालीमी वज़ाइफ मुत्तहिद इक़साम के मज़ामीन में काबिलियत के मयार के मुताबिक दस्तयाब होंगे। इस बिल की मंजूरी की खुशी और हुकूक नुस्वा के लिए काम करने वाली पाकिस्तानी खवातीन के एजाज में अपना कम्युनिटी सेंटर ने डेमोक्रेटिक पार्टी के रुकन और कांग्रेसमैन हकीम जैफर्स के साथ एक तकरीब मुनक्किद की, जिसमें न्यूयॉर्क में पाकिस्तान की कौंसल जनरल आयशा अली समेत पाकिस्तानी अमेरिकन कम्युनिटी की खवातीन ने बड़ी तादाद में शिरकत की। तकरीब का आगाज तलावत पाक से किया गया।
यासीन वल कुरानिल हकीम इन्नका लमिनल मुरसलीन अला सिरातिम मुस्तकीम तंज़ीलुल अज़ीज़िर रहीम लितुनज़िरा कौमन मा उनज़िरा आबाउहुम फहुम ला गफ़िलून।
तकरीब की निज़ामत अपना कम्युनिटी सेंटर की CEO इरम हनीफ ने की। उन्होंने शुरका को अपना कम्युनिटी सेंटर के क़याम के आगाज़ व मकासद और कम्युनिटी के लिए की गई खिदमत से आगाह किया।
We are now, alhamdulillah, able to serve a very diverse community. We have a food pantry because of the COVID situation. We established a food pantry, and from that food pantry, every week we are serving 300 plus families. The families across Brooklyn, South Brooklyn especially. There are people, most of them are seniors or single mothers. Pakistani, African Americans, Russian, Spanish, Latino Americans, Chinese, and as well as Arabic community are in the lines every week in front of Apna. And apart from that, we also do 2,000 cooked meals distribution from Apna Community Center. As well as I said, we work closely with our elected officials and different city agencies and well-established other community-based organizations in bringing more services. Apna has trained case workers to provide them assistance in applying for food stamp, Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, disability, transportation for seniors, and as well as because of the state new programs and services, we currently provide assistance to our constituents in applying for rental relief application. And recently, another program we are able to get ourselves trained is Executive Excluded Workers Fund, which is a recently established program by the state in which those individuals of our communities, because of immigration or because of other reasons, they were not able to apply or get unemployment insurance. We have trained case workers, those who will assist those individuals and families to get some sort of financial relief from the government.
तकरीब के मेज़बान और अपना कम्युनिटी सेंटर के चेयरमैन परवेज सद्दीकी ने अपने खिताब के आगाज में मेहमान खसूसी हकीम जैफरीज का तफसीली तारुफ करवाया। उन्होंने कहा कि हकीम जैफरीज ने न सिर्फ मुस्लिम कम्युनिटी बल्कि पाकिस्तानी कम्युनिटी के हकूक के लिए भी आवाज उठाई है।
It is a great pleasure of mine to have the opportunity to introduce one of the most beloved congressmen in a very long time that we've had. Hakeem Jeffries is no stranger to our community, but in order to see what his achievements have been in the Congress, I have to let you know what he has done, what bills he's passed, how active he is. So give me an opportunity to just describe some of his achievements, and I really feel that he is so active in doing for our community that hasn't been done before. Congressman Hakeem Jeffries is the congressman for the 8th congressional district. He's the Congressional Black Caucus chair, whip, and co-chair of the Democratic Policy and Committee. In Congress, Hakeem Jeffries is a tireless advocate for social and economic justice. He has worked hard to help residents impacted the devastation of the COVID-19 pandemic, reform a criminal system, improve the economy for everybody Americans, and protect our healthcare from right-wing attacks. During the 116th Congress, Representative Jeffries, one of the most effective legislators, passing multiple bills through the House of Representatives and into law with substantial bipartisan and stakeholder support. These measures touched on diverse subjects, matters, and were drafted with the intention of making meaningful improvements to our federal laws and programs. They included bills to create copyright and small claims board allowing the creative middle class to protect their works, H.R. 2426, into public law. He has passed many other bills to protect the people who have been incarcerated. On June 25th, the House of Representatives passed an H.R. 7120, the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. Representative Jeffries helped lead the charge with respect to passage of this historic police reform, which included legislation authored by the congressman to criminalize the chokehold and other inherently dangerous tactics such as knee to the neck. Representative Jeffries remains dedicated to working with his colleagues to make transformational police reform a reality and breathe life into the principle of liberty and justice for all. Representative Jeffries has played a major role in shaping the congressional response to the COVID-19 pandemic. He has fought hard to assist state and local governments whose budgets have been devastated by the virus, pushed for an extension of the emergency unemployment benefit, and supported efforts to keep everyday Americans in their homes. Representative Jeffries has worked across the aisle with Representative Peter King to secure billions of dollars in funding for the Metropolitan Transport Authority and the CARES Act, which became law in March 2020. He has worked with Andrew Cuomo to expand testing in the hard-hit communities of color by establishing walk-in sites at the House of Worship throughout New York City. He has also partnered with Congressman Doug Collins, a conservative Republican from rural Georgia, on the legislation which is widely viewed as the most meaningful criminal justice reform, which was so needed for this particular time that we're going through. I have known Congressman Hakeem Jeffries since 2013 when I was a pharmacist on Mermaid Avenue in Brooklyn. And one of the famous things that I remember, walking up to the post office on Mermaid Avenue, where I would see him standing and meeting the entire community members. That was one of those conversations I had, and that relationship and friendship has carried on to this day. To me, he is one of the most available, humble, devoted, kind, caring, and absolutely helpful to any of the problems that there are in our community and that he comes around.
परवेज सदीकी ने शुरुका को मुखातिब करते हुए मजीद कहा कि यूं तो अमरीकी कांग्रेस ने मुफाद आमा में कई कानून बनाए और मंजूर किए, लेकिन हाल ही में जो मलाला यूसुफजई स्कॉलरशिप एक्ट पास किया है, इसकी कोई मिसाल नहीं मिलती.
One of the most astounding bill that he has passed, which has affected our community and which we are so proud of, is passing out to expand scholarship opportunities available to Pakistani women. And this bill is H.R. 4508. I want to applaud him for this effort.
हाजरीन से खिताब करते हुए तकरीब के मेहमान खुसूसी कांग्रेसमैन हकीम जेफरीज ने कहा कि उनकी हमेशा से ख्वाहिश रही है कि खवातीन को तालीम याफ्ता बनाया जाए. इसी सोच के तहत मलाला एक्ट तैयार किया गया, लेकिन इसे मंजूर करवाना इतना आसान नहीं था. लेकिन अच्छी नीयत और इरादे से काम किया जाए तो आप जरूर कामयाब होते हैं.
Wednesday the 13th, we took the vote to impeach the president a second time. And I felt it was my constitutional responsibility to cast that vote and speak on the floor. At this point in time, I say there is no way that the Malala Act is going to get signed into law. On the day we impeach the president, but God is good. And later on that day, impeachment day, I get a call from the White House. The bill has been signed into law. Wow. Because there was a greater good behind it. And at the end of the day, that's my message. That there are certain issues that go beyond partisan politics, beyond the Democratic position or the Republican position. And I'm so thankful that this particular bill did not get caught up in the partisan passions and politics of the moment. And that the recognition of standing for Pakistani women and making sure that they had the same opportunities to grow and cultivate their brilliance and their creativity and their intellectual power to be whatever they want to be is good for Pakistan, it's good for the United States, it's good for our relationship, and it's good for the world.
तकरीब के शुरका कांग्रेसमैन हकीम जेफरीज की गुफ्तगू सुनकर बहुत मुतासिर हुए। इस दौरान कुछ सवाल जवाब भी किए गए। हकीम जेफरीज ने हाज़रीन को मलाला एक्ट की तफसील से आगाह करते हुए कहा कि इस बिल की मंजूरी से पाकिस्तान में खवातीन की आला तालीम की राह में हाइल माशी रुकावटें दूर हो जाएंगी और पाकिस्तान में तालबात को आला तालीम के बेहतर मौके भी मैसर आएंगे।
The Malala Scholarship Act, which was a bipartisan bill that we were successful in moving through both the House and the Senate and eventually signed into law to make sure that the resources that the United States provided to the Pakistani government as part of the foreign aid that we provide to countries all across the world, and Pakistan is such an important ally of the United States of America that we wanted to make sure that in terms of the funds that were provided to help with the education of Pakistanis, that at least 50% of those resources went to the education of Pakistani girls and women. Because when women succeed, Pakistan succeeds. Just like when women here succeed, America succeeds.
इस मौके पर कौंसल जनरल आयशा अली ने भी अपने ख्यालात का इजहार किया। अपने खिताब में उन्होंने कहा कि पाकिस्तान में खवातीन अब हर शोबे में अपना नाम पैदा कर रही हैं। उम्मीद है कि मलाला एक्ट की मंजूरी के बाद लड़कियों के लिए आला तालीम का हसूल जो मुश्किल है काफी आसान हो जाएगा।
The Malala Yousafzai Scholarship Act is named after a young Pakistani woman, the youngest person to be awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for her struggle for inclusive and more educational opportunities for the women of Pakistan. By virtue of this act, the USAID is required to award 50% of the scholarship grants intended for Pakistan under the Merit and Needs-Based Scholarship Program to women and girls of Pakistan between 2020 and 2022. The scholarship aims to cover their tuition as well as living expenses and to equip them with a huge amount of opportunities in their ensuing practical life. So you can understand how important this scholarship is and this act is. And I think there has already been some practical steps that have been taken. I saw, I think as recently as yesterday, a tweet from the US Embassy in Islamabad, where I saw the first practical steps that have been taken in regards to awarding these scholarships. So a huge step for the education of women in Pakistan, and really grateful to you for that.
इस मौके पर अपना कम्युनिटी की एग्जीक्यूटिव डायरेक्टर शाजिया वट्टू ने कांग्रेसमैन हकीम जेफरीज और कौंसल जनरल आयशा अली का खैर मकदम किया और अपना कम्युनिटी की कारकर्दगी पर भी रोशनी डाली।
It is great honor for me to be recipient of All Pakistan Women of Distinction Award. I want to thank you, Congressman Jeffries, for participating with Abna and celebrating and recognizing the empowerment of Pakistani women. You have the singular honor of recognizing women from our community, as we feel our community in the past has been ignored, and I thank you for that. It is my honor to represent my Pakistani American community, and I look forward to more Pakistani women thriving and accomplishing their aspirations and their dreams.
पाकिस्तानी अमेरिकन कम्युनिटी की खवातीन का मानना है कि अब पाकिस्तान में लड़कियों को आला तालीम दिलवाने का रुझान फरोग पा रहा है। एक खातून के तालीम याफ्ता होने से पूरे घराने की बेहतर तरबियत होती है। इस मौके पर तकरीब में मदऊ की गई पाकिस्तानी गुलकारा ने अपनी आवाज का जादू जगाया और मशहूर गीत चांदनी रातें गाकर सबके दिल जीत लिए। अपना कम्युनिटी सेंटर ने अमेरिका में रहते हुए हकूक़ नुस्वा के लिए मुतहरिक रहने वाली ख़वातीन की खिदमात का एतराफ़ किया। इन ख़वातीन में शाजिया वट्टू, इरम हनीफ, आबदा सितार, नाजिया शाहीन, शारून इकराम, जुनैरा अहमद, मेहताब बीबी और मरियम नवीद शामिल हैं। इन तमाम ख़वातीन को इनकी खिदमात के एतराफ़ में कांग्रेसमैन हकीम जेफरीज ने तारीफ़ी असनाद और सर्टिफिकेट्स पेश किए। तकरीब के अख्ताम पर अपना कम्युनिटी सेंटर के चेयरमैन परवेज सिद्दीकी, एग्जीक्यूटिव डायरेक्टर शाजिया वट्टू और CEO इरम हनीफ ने कांग्रेसमैन हकीम जेफरीज और कौंसल जनरल आयशा अली से उनकी आमद पर इजहार तशक्कुर किया।